there's a whole bunch of gurus out there that make flipping look really easy.
Yeah.
HGTV makes it look really easy.
Yep.
When you dip your toe in, it's like quicksand, and you can go down really fast if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a writer. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Animal House, the house legend. I am Annalise Everton, aka Animal, and I'm a realtor in Virginia, specifically the Hampton Roads area. On Animal House, we like to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the exciting parts of real estate, personal, professional, and all in between. Today, I'm here with Kristyn Michael.
Hi.
And I'm super excited to talk with her because she has built quite a business in the past few years. She and her significant other are building a wonderful empire, flipping houses, making them beautiful all over Hampton Roads. How are you today?
I'm really good. How are you?
Good. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to this point that you're at now?
Yeah. So I think I was unofficially born into it.
Okay.
I am the daughter of a house flipper.
Oh, nice.
And I think my dad's been in real estate about 35 years now, 34 or 35 years.
Wow.
I think I was one when he got his license. So yeah.
And that's here in Hampton Roads?
No, we're from Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just about 30 minutes south of Boston.
Awesome.
So born and raised into it. Had a tool belt my whole childhood.
Okay,
And,
so you were actually helping with updates.
I was.
Awesome.
Yeah. He was a retail agent, and then he would buy a house, fix it up enough that we could live in it, finish the renovation, and then sell it, and we'd be on to our next house. So I lived in a lot of houses.
Okay, so you were living in the houses that you were flipping growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so he's here doing this with you now.
He is. Yeah, he moved here about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So, wow. So he moved here to continue this process with you guys.
That's right.
That's amazing. I love that.
We have a couple rental properties together. And so we all do the flipping thing and kind of trying to acquire properties as we go.
Okay. So being that you kind of mentioned that just now, how do you determine if a house is going to be something that you flip or something that you hang on to and rent out?
That's a good question. So I say to all my clients and all the agents that I mentor that everything depends.
Okay.
So it's just the way we analyze. Basically, it's the deciding factor is what's best for the seller.
Right.
So if they're in a predicament where they need to go fast, as an example, I sold a house. Oh, actually, I sold two houses to active duty members. And a year later, both of them got orders overseas. And
very typical situation here.
Very typical. It just so happened that they didn't have enough equity, even with me discounting at a large rate, to sell their house. So they would have to come either short sell or, foreclose. And we didn't want to see that happen to them. So we used a lot of creative financing options, and we acquire a lot of our rentals that way. So they know that the property that they give to us is being taken care of.
Okay.
And then for flip opportunities, really we analyze and see if there's a spread large enough, and then we kind of work backwards.
Right.
See what the ARV after repair value would be, what our renovation cost will be, and then what our max purchase price would be.
Yeah.
And then we go to the seller, and if it works, great, we put a deal together. If it doesn't, we go to another option.
Right.
Until we get there.
Sounds like you don't have many scenarios where you can say no.
Not that many.
Right.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a yes person.
Me too.
I love to say yes to everybody. Okay, so how many rentals do you have at the moment?
We have 3 rentals.
Okay.
We own 5 properties. And I mean, we're always looking to acquire more. Sometimes we only have 3 right now because we we sold off a couple of our
Gotcha.
houses that were going to be rentals. So
Okay. Okay. Do you have, and this is like always my favorite question to ask, I'm sure it's everybody's, any story that stands out, or specifically like a house that stands out that you first toured it and it was shocking, or it was going to be like, I don't know how we're going to say yes to this one. Anything you can share as far as just something that was shocking when you walked through it for the first time?
So I'm not sure, being that I've had 34 years of experience being in all these types of houses, I'm not sure if there was like really a shock factor.
Okay. That makes sense.
I'll tell you, there were stories when I was younger, you know, where my dad would bring me on showings, and there was one property that he was actually selling retail that I walked into, and I said, "Dad, this place stinks," right in front of the buyers.
Oh no.
So I've been groomed to kind of just analyze the situation before I open my mouth. But we deal with a lot of hoarder houses.
Okay.
Actually, you came to one of the properties,
Right.
That was a hoarder house, and it's very unfortunate. You know, some people. I think that our superpower as house flippers is just really taking away that embarrassing feeling that some sellers feel. We really just try to put ourselves in their shoes, which I think is how we end up with so many of the same properties, because once they have a really good experience with us, news travels fast.
Right. So at this point, you're kind of like almost referral based.
Yeah, we are 100% referral based.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't buy leads.
Okay. So really, it's just word of mouth at this point, specifically, that you helped somebody feel good about everything that needed to be done. You took that embarrassed factor out of there. You took the shame out of there. Does that come naturally to you?
It does. I think it really does. I mean, being in retail, and I mean, you've been in tons of houses where you go in thinking one thing and you open the door to something completely different. I think having that experience and just really leading with compassion, there is nothing that we can't tackle. Right. We've had some seriously distressed houses. Yeah. To the point where one of them we really thought was a complete teardown. We actually sold it to a builder in the area, and he ended up fixing it up. He was able to rehab it. But there really is nothing that we can't do. We have so many tools in our back pocket that we can honestly go into a house and tell the seller, we're here to help, and that's it. So yes, there has been definitely shocking, you know, when you open the door and you're like, wow, but nothing that we can't handle.
Good. So what's your typical timeline for acquiring a property and getting it to the point where you need to sell it?
Yeah.
Or you're ready to sell it?
I think all my answers today are going to be it depends.
It depends, yeah. I think everything, just disclaimer, everything in real estate depends.
It depends, yeah. The average that we like is 60-day max. Okay. There have been some that are 30-day. There have been some that, well, actually, now that we're talking about it, one of our projects took 5 months.
Oh, wow.
Because we could not for the life of us get rid of fleas. And it was a nightmare.
This seems to be a trend. Okay, literally another episode we talked about fleas.
No way.
And that is crazy to me, because of all the houses I've shown and I've been in some distressed properties as well, I have not seen fleas.
Knock on wood.
I'm sure now I'm gonna see them.
You will.
In the next house I show immediately. So was it like all over the furniture, carpets?
So it was really, it was a shock factor house, honestly, because the first time we toured the house, there were 5 enormous dogs.
Oh, wow.
In the house. And when we were touring it, we didn't have any fleas on us, because I firmly believe that all the fleas were on the dogs.
Okay.
So we didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And when we closed and went back to the house, it was riddled with fleas.
Because the dogs were gone, so they jumped onto the carpet.
They were so hungry. We demoed the entire house. We actually had to pull back all the drywall as well, down to studs.
Oh my God.
Literally, there was a shell. And it was not something that we were factoring in.
Right.
When we bought the house, it was going to be a really easy flip.
Okay.
We call that the onion factor.
Uh-huh.
The onion factor in flipping is literally when you take off one layer of the onion, you don't know what lies beneath.
Right.
So, but we can talk about that later, because I wanted to talk about, basically, there's a whole bunch of gurus out there that make flipping look really easy.
Yeah.
HGTV makes it look really easy.
Yep.
When you dip your toe in, it's like quicksand, and you can go down really fast if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
So we build our, can I swear on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
We usually have a 15 to 20% oh shit factor.
Okay.
And that's the literal peeling back the onion. Oh shit, I did not plan for this.
Surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, real estate is a whole bunch of surprises.
Yeah.
So, but that one house was just like so many surprises.
I think I've shown some oh shit houses.
Yeah.
Where it looks like they got to a certain point in renovating the house, and they just
gave up.
Couldn't handle the situation, or they didn't know what to do. They weren't expecting it. And have you acquired any properties like that where it was like halfway done?
Yeah, well, we've been given a lot of opportunities.
Okay.
We haven't actually closed on one that's been started and not finished.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people that get in over their head, and it's actually kind of scary. It's actually kind of sad.
Yeah, because you don't know what they did before you got there, too.
We don't know what they did before. We don't know how much money they spent. And really, it's sad for them, because if you don't go into this with education,
right,
you can really go belly up really fast.
Yeah.
So we factor in everything into our deals so that we can have all the oh shit factors and still break even at least.
Right.
If the worst of the worst were to happen.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you have a really good process.
You do.
And you have a good tribe, a good network, I assume.
Yes. Yeah, actually, that makes a huge difference.
Yes.
It really does. We, as realtors, we always hear, do you have a cheap XYZ? Do you have a handyman or a cheap guy that can come fix this? You really get what you pay for.
Yeah.
We've found that out the hard way. And we pay a premium for our crews, our subs. We've worked really hard to create a name in our community, and that is the most important thing to us over a profit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I mean, I'll just tell you right now, I'm going to hype her up right now. She really has. Even just your marketing, like people, especially in today's day and age where you can literally just take your phone and record anything, you don't go cheap on that. And that's something a lot of people will sometimes say, okay, well, we can go big on this and I'll just save on the marketing.
Yeah.
But you don't even slight when it comes to that. You're not afraid to really use the top people in the industry when it comes to that. And so that really shows that just that little piece shows that you're using all the best tools in your bucket for the whole process.
That's right. Well, it's something that we preach as top tier agents, that you get what you pay for. I expect, from my clients they expect top tier service from me.
Right.
In turn, I wouldn't be practicing what I preached unless I used the top tier people in our industry. And I think that it really makes a difference, especially when you're not buying leads and you're not meeting someone for the first time. We are actually going in and really hoping to change lives. And we have a couple times, and it's really cool. I asked for a review from one of our sellers the other day because I have two hats. I have a realtor hat and I have a flipping hat.
Right.
And I went to ask this seller for a review on how his process was with us when we purchased from him. And it was really nice to hear that, number one, he wanted to keep in touch with me. He literally updated me on because they were pregnant and they had just had a baby when we were buying their house. And he wanted to update me on his family life and everything. And that's really cool for me.
Well, that's the realtor hat.
Yeah,
because
it is.
We are invested in the journey that our clients are taking.
Yeah, but I don't think that it should stop there.
Right.
I really think that there are way too many people in our industry who make it very easy for us to be successful because they don't care.
Yeah.
They care about the profit.
Yeah.
We will never do that. We'll never, period.
I wish there was a way to gauge in the beginning, before people even get their license, like who cares?
Oh God.
There should be, those should be more of the questions on the test, like
ethical questions.
I know, and then you don't have to be a realtor, or I mean, and I don't think that you have to be a realtor to be ethical either. No. However, I think that, you know, just the ethics in general, like they should be a part of the actual test.
I think so too.
Yeah. So let me switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about you and Scott. Scott is your partner in all of this, and he is your ass grabber.
Yes.
And he is
the biggest hype man.
Yeah, he's your biggest hype man. You guys, that's, I think, a big part of your success too, is like your relationship with him. Can you tell me about how that kind of evolved?
Oh my gosh. It was, I think, literally just the stars aligning.
Yeah. Perfect scenario.
Oh gosh. So a lot of people know that I'm going through a divorce. It just so happened that I was scrolling Facebook and saw this really cute guy saving some baby snakes from a glue stick thing in a garage.
Oh, was it at a home? He was a home inspector, right?
He was with Priority Pest.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he was just out of the kindness of his heart saving these baby snakes, and I happen to absolutely hate snakes. So I didn't even know who the guy was. Messaged him 3 like emoji throw up faces.
Okay.
And literally that's what started everything. He said, he looked me up, you're a realtor. Do you use my company? And I said, you should know, if you're asking me this question. And he said, well, the first one's on me if you want to use our company for a trial run. And I said, well, I actually have a rental property that I need a crawl space inspection on because one of my tenants needed it. And he said, well, I have an appointment today at 3. Open, and I had just happened to have a listing appointment right down the road from my rental. Okay. And so I met him there. He got out of the truck, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble! I'm in trouble."
Sounds like you both kind of already knew from the throw up emojis.
Oh God. Well, we didn't, because it was this silly conversation. Actually, my dad was there too. And because I realized on my way to the rental property, I didn't have the keys because my dad manages the properties that we have. So I was like, oh crap, Dad, can you bring the key? I have this inspection with this guy I don't even know. Can you bring the keys? And so he brought the keys, and my dad doesn't stop talking. And I was like, okay, I want to talk to this guy. And when my dad left, Scott made a comment about maybe possibly interviewing me to be his realtor when his divorce was final. And I was like, checking that box because I'm getting a divorce.
Yes.
We're going to be together forever. And so he said that he used to flip houses with his dad, and it was just the perfect scenario. So I was like, this is like this tall, dark, and handsome man. And oh my gosh, it was like I was so nervous, but at the same time, I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, 2 months later, it happened really fast.
Right.
2 months later, we had decided that he was going to quit his job, and we were going to go full force and take a chance on each other and start flipping houses. And
oh my gosh,
here we are.
I love that. I didn't know the part about that his dad and him also flipped houses. Yes. Okay, that right there would be like a core thing for me. Just like that's like going to make me tear up.
I know. It really is. So I couldn't have written it better if I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm getting chills.
I know.
So, okay, so 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months go by and you guys...
He started Cape Homes.
Okay.
I am his realtor.
Okay.
So it really,
So,
the way that we
like
run it,
yes. Okay.
the way that we run it is I help him acquire the properties.
Okay.
I help him design the properties because that's just my
Because you're the
dream.
woman, hello.
And I help him sell the properties, and he does everything in between.
Right. He does the fixing. I'm sure he does some planning for things that are like a little less design.
He does. Yeah. Everything else other than design is what he does.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about like trends. So you guys have a pretty, I mean, I think it's a very trendy style, really modern, and you kind of, you do it similar, but there's a lot of little mini differences between each house depending on the character, I guess.
Yeah, I like to throw up my Pinterest into every house. So I design different in different areas.
Okay.
Like if I'm in Great Neck, I design in one fashion. If I'm, I like to throw around different designs. I do a lot of research on previously sold flips and trends in certain areas. And then I just roll with it. And a lot of the times I'll say, hey, Scott, I'm going to do this. And he's like, oh, I don't.
Or actually, you're going to do this.
Yeah. We are going to do this.
Right.
And he questions, but then he just lets me do it. And it has turned out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to take chances.
Do you go to like mainstream stores for your cabinets and stuff like that? Or do you try to go off the beaten path?
No, I mean, we have a couple cabinet companies that we go through. That's another part of our, using top tier services.
Right.
We don't skimp on our materials, that's for sure.
I love that. Because I mean, I would be the same way because I don't want to sell a house that I wouldn't buy myself.
Amen.
Yeah.
I've actually wanted to live in a couple of our flips.
Right. I think that might be part of the reason why I haven't gone that far yet, because I'm like, well, I'll just keep it for a rental.
I know.
And maybe I'll live in it again
I'll just
someday.
buy it. Yeah, we already bought it. We'll just keep it.
Right. So do you have, as far as your network goes, what would you say your team looks like, an official team, so to speak? Like, do you have other teams that are like you and Scott that you're good friends with, that you guys bounce ideas off of?
Yeah. We have a great network. We created this collaborative network that actually spans we're in Virginia, we have some people in South Carolina, some people in Georgia, Ohio, California.
Wow.
I mean, we have a really good crew.
Awesome.
And it's broker agnostic. We're all at different brokerages.
Okay.
There's some people that have licenses, some people that don't. It's just a really good group of people who just bounce ideas off of each other. And it's a mastermind group.
Yeah.
But it's very intimate.
Okay.
Where it's not exclusive,
Right.
but we only really want people in our group who are actually doing
Hold the same values.
Yeah.
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 I like the term broker agnostic. I'm going to use that for sure. I like that because that's kind of how I am. Like, I love to even just collaborating with people, or like especially when the market was really crazy a couple years ago and the rates were like 2.75.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I was calling people that I liked, that I knew, to be like, hey, what do you got coming up?
Yep.
I've got this couple that's super serious. We can't seem to win. $100,000 cash over appraisal guarantee.
It's so crazy.
So broker agnostic, I like that term because you can't keep everything within your brokerage all the time.
No, I think it's people over everything. I mean, relationships are what got us here.
Right.
Just
exactly
getting to know each other.
Yeah. And plus, your needs and your situation change over time. So you just never know what relationships may work out for you in a different way later.
Right. I actually think there's a huge missed opportunity in the retail space because so many people, or so many agents, so many realtors don't know their options. They don't know where opportunity lies when you're strictly thinking about retail.
Yeah.
When you go to a listing appointment and all you have to offer is, I can sell your house.
Right. Here's the comps. This is what it sells for.
That's one tool.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you're an agent who truly understands opportunity and truly understands the making of the real estate industry, you can offer to buy the house, you can offer to sell the house, you can offer to creative finance the house, you can offer, I mean, there are so many opportunities. You should never leave that listing appointment without something signed. Right. Like, you know, or at least a game plan so that they're at ease.
Yeah.
Like, there is no way that I'm going to allow you to go belly up on this.
Yeah.
And what, you know, as long as you're not, we call it champagne taste or the beer wallet, you know, for buyers, but the opposite for sellers. Like there are some sellers who just have their expectations are not in line with reality.
That doesn't help any situation.
No, it doesn't. But if you have the education to back you, there really is nothing that you can't do for them.
Yeah. I do love that mindset because I'm the same way. Sometimes I feel like I definitely have room to grow in that situation.
Everybody does.
Yeah, because I have been in many scenarios where I'm like, I know there's something we can do here, I just don't know what it is.
Right.
And that's part of why I'm doing this, because I want to hear from other people that have been in those situations and their experiences. So I really appreciate you coming out and doing this with us today. Cape Homes is the people that call Kristyn and Scott. If you've got a house, a distressed property, you know of somebody that's got a distressed property or just a situation that they're not sure how to handle.
Even if you need options.
Just options, yes. Yeah, I'm going to drop her handle, her plug on everything here. Scott too. Hey Scott, I'll get you on the next one, I promise. But I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing this.
This is awesome.
And we'll be back with more next time.
Awesome.
Thanks.